began his career as a young lawyer in South Africa. There he saw the unjust rule of the British and the mistreatment of the black South Africans. He worked towards equality and an end to British oppression. In 1914, after some years in South Africa, the young Gandhi returned to his native India, bringing with him ambitions of independence. Gandhi encouraged the use of civil disobedience as a non-violent form of protest against the British.
Despite his passion, Gandhi never resorted to violence. Instead, he used civil disobedience, a means of protest in which one peacefully defies laws thought to be unjust. For instance, Gandhi refused to carry the mandatory passes implemented by the British Empire. Similarly, he encouraged boycotts of goods such as cloth and salt, which Indians were not allowed to make for themselves.
On March 12, 1930, Gandhi and his followers marched for 240 miles to the coast in an effort to produce their own salt and resist British taxation on salt.
Although Gandhi maintained nonviolence, his protests were often met with violent force. On April 13, 1919, in Amritsar, India, a peaceful gathering of Indian men, women, and children was fired upon by 50 British soldiers, under the command of Reginald Dyer. While British authorities claim that the fatalities numbered in the 300s, many now believe that over 1,000 may have been killed.
But when a great power like that strikes defenseless people, it shows its brutality, its own weakness, especially when those people do not strike.
They've had their warning. No meetings.
After decades of struggle, Gandhi would finally succeed in his quest for Indian self-determination. In 1947, the British Empire relinquished its colony, and India gained its independence. The joy, however, was short-lived. In 1948, a fellow Hindu, upset at Gandhi's collaboration with the Muslims in India, shot the Mahatma. The face of India was dead. The same year as Gandhi's death, 1948, the country of South Africa faced struggles as new laws were implemented. Apartheid was the legal segregation of blacks and whites in South Africa. Blacks could not use the same schools or facilities and had to live in separate areas called homelands. Many blacks resisted apartheid. One group known as the ANC, the African National Congress, worked to secure equal rights for black South Africans. In 1960, the British government in South Africa banned the ANC for its resistance to apartheid laws. One leader of the ANC who was especially defiant was Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela started as a lawyer, but quickly became involved in politics. In the 1940s and 50s, he worked closely with the ANC and led many anti-apartheid rallies and campaigns. While Mandela was heavily influenced by Gandhi and was a strong believer in civil disobedience, he did use violence as a last resort. In 1961, Mandela became the leader of the military branch of the ANC, known as MK. The group carried out sabotage and guerrilla attacks on government buildings as a means of ending apartheid. The British, however, responded with violence of their own. On March 21, 1960, 5,000 protesters gathered at the Sharpeville police station without the mandatory passes. The crowd eventually grew and became more chaotic. Police reinforcements arrived, armed with submachine guns, and shot at the crowd. 69 people were killed, and over 180 were injured. Because of his strong defiance and violent associations, in 1962, Mandela was arrested and imprisoned on Robben Island. Sentenced to life, Mandela served 27 years in a prison cell on Robben Island. While in prison, Mandela secretly wrote his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom. Even while Mandela was imprisoned, other South Africans continued the fight for equality. Bishop Desmond Tutu encouraged the use of international economic sanctions to pressure the South African government into ending apartheid. Many countries, including the United States, refused to trade with South Africa. With international support dwindling, South Africa became more pressured to end apartheid. In 1990, after 42 years, President F.W. de Klerk ended apartheid, legalized the ANC, and freed Mandela from Robben Island. 4 years later, Mandela was elected president in the first free elections in South Africa. Even today, Mandela is an important figure in South African politics. Even though he does not hold any office, Mandela continues to inspire South Africans with his perseverance and message of equality.